So you have this, Karen looking female. She's, going to take issue with some of the names that black people name their children. And I really know, we'll let this video play, but let's go ahead and expound on it. Let's roll that clip.
Black people are notorious for naming their children 25-letter names that they're never going to get even pronounced right, let alone spelled right. Why would you do that?
Do you know why they actually do that? Yeah. The reason for that is because during slavery, their identities were taken away. So they had to have unique names in order to identify their offspring when they were sold from different plantations. So that came down generationally as generational trauma.
Okay, well, how about now? Isn't that sort of trauma for that poor kid that's never going to have his name spelled right?
Only to your standards.
Like, what is... If I were that child, I wouldn't want my name misspelled all the way through or mispronounced by people.
That's because people can't take the time to pronounce it correctly.
Whatever.
You can say supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, but you can't say Jaquan. Are you kidding me?
Okay, whatever the result is, the poor child does not have his name pronounced correctly or spelled correctly.
Because people do not take the time. You can take the extra 2 seconds to do it, but instead you're sitting here making fun of a whole culture of people for things that they didn't have a choice on.
Do you have a name that gets misspelled a lot?
I sure don't. Well, because my mom whitewashed my name.
So that's racist.
Well, the one thing that the, young lady in the background was saying to the Karen here was actually correct. Black people always name their children a lot of times with names that didn't sound like a stereotypical white name. Instead of, naming your child John, like she said in the thing, they would say maybe Jaquan, John Tavius, different names that they want to come up with. And they say, oh, why these names are so long, or I can't say that name, etc. Well, it's not about you saying a name, but we know in America teach ignorance. They don't teach pronunciation of words. They don't teach critical thinking skills. They don't teach about other cultures. They only teach about white supremacy. And like I say, their so-called public school is nothing but indoctrination centers. It's not education centers. A lot of black people try to remove themselves much as possible from the attachment of the folks, which we got that through slavery. Even though they may have certain names, like say, John Quavius or something like that, a lot of times his name may be John Quavius Johnson or John Quavius Williams or, John Quavius, what other names that black people normally would have, right? Our names are attached to the plantation owners. And I remember years ago, I was wrestling with that a lot. I was like, man, I hate my name. I was really having a conversation with my mom one day about my name. I said, listen, I hate my name. I said, I'm named after my father, Black American father, right? I'm named after my father and everything, but I just hate that name is attached to some white supremacist. I'm like, we are the only group of black people that has that attachment like that. And it's annoying. I say, because you look at some of our brothers and sisters may come from, our distant cousins may come from the motherland or different places like that. They don't have that attachment like that. They have the attachment of they people. And, sometimes on this delineation conversation that we're having, I wish we all start having another conversation about getting rid of the white names. Like, can we come up with a new last name for our people and shed all these names that sound even close to a European name? I think that's the next step after delineation, in which everybody's doing that. We need to start having that conversation. And I'm not saying naming ourselves Muhammad or nothing like that. We know in the nation they do that. But I'm talking because everybody is not Islamic. We talking about a particular name or even a last name or something that we could all say, okay, yeah, you are Black American, then this is the Black American name, right? Instead of all of us staying as Williams, Johnson, Jones, Scott, all these different last names that we have. I just think that's the next step of trust me. I never forget that. I did a radio show a long time ago and a white lady called and she told me, She said, we always gonna be attached to white people because of our names. He said, if you really want to break attachment from us, then you have to get rid of the name. Then you could sever attachment from us. And it makes a lot of sense because when other groups of people come here, they're not attached to these people here because they have their own names. So I think that's the next evolution of the conversation when delineation. 'Cause I know delineation is something new, but the next step is the name aspect. It's the names. Now we can name our kids what we want to name our kids, but definitely that last name, I think, is something that we really need to focus on. But let me know what y'all think about, with this, particular, ignorant Karen is saying. But I think that conversation 20 to 24 needs to start about the changing of names.